I'm Melissa March. I'm a co-founder and the chief executive of Learning for the Full Age.
And I'm Claire Miles, and I am the project coordinator for the SPECS project in the domiciliary.
The SPECS project is a big lottery funded project that looks at digital storytelling with older people in care homes, so giving older people the chance to tell their stories in their own way and edit them and give them to their volunteers or to their family members.
Yeah, and also working with people in their own homes, so doing the same thing but with people in their own homes and giving them a chance to record stories about their lives, and it could be something that they're really interested in, something that they have a passion for, or it could be an actual history of their life, so using photos, using music, using all kinds of different parts of their kind of history and bringing that together in a recording of some kind.
My name is Ken Griffin. I was born in Devonshire in 1926.
Born in Jamaica. I was 14, had to leave. And that's all the women. Came to England 1954.
I'm Kathleen Evans, and I'm living now in Agnes House. Everything's done for us here. No shopping, no cleaning, no washing. Very nice.
My proper name?
Yes.
Mahala.
Okay.
I'm Helen. I was born in 1920. I'm now 93 years old.
Well, I was always a bit scared when my father went to work, hoping that he would come back, and he did.
So that was Germany. And then Hitler came, and my mother was a Jew. So you can imagine the rest of the story.
My name is Blanche Davenport.
Although we were fairly poor, we were very happy indeed.
There were 4 children. We used to go under the table at night.
I was never indoors. I was a young boy. I was always off out into the countryside.
I weren't frightened, just accepted it. It was life.
I wanted to leave home. I think every young person does. So I made the excuse that I wanted to go live in London.
Good afternoon, everybody. Most of you know me, but for those who don't, my name is Bettine and I'm in room 22 and possibly the youngest person in the home.
And I also remember often there was a box of black shoes came to the school for the children that had got no shoes. And later, which I found in a newspaper cutting, the teachers of the school used to collect money between themselves to supply these black shoes for the children at Taylor Street School.
I've been asked to give you some outlook on my story of my life. I hope you'll find it interesting.
It's about empowering them, isn't it, in a way, to be able to tell their story and also to realise that they have an amazing value and that people do want to hear their stories, because so often the people that we speak to say that they don't have anything interesting to say and that they don't have anything that anybody else would want to hear, but actually once they start to tell their stories, sometimes they are actually amazed themselves by the things that they've done. And I think that is where there's enormous value in doing this project, because it really is empowering and confidence building and enabling people to regain who they are in many ways when they've lost that going into care. So it is immensely rewarding.
And we've also been working closely with Seed Creativity to help us actually get those skills in the filmmaking, in editing films, in producing those films, so that they are the volunteers have the skills to be able to best facilitate the learning of the older person.
Yeah, that's been key, really, giving them a bit of training and support, and allowing them to be the people that actually make the films, and not having outsiders coming into that kind of relationship, and allowing that to be quite a relaxed atmosphere. That's been good.
Hi, my name is Dennis Stanfar. I'm a project worker for Learning for the Fourth Age, working on the SPECS project.
Hi, my name's Dan Lamoon and I'm from Seed Creativity. We're a media design agency and my background is producing films, and I've been brought in on the SPECS project in order to support and bring in the technical knowledge about how we can really kind of push and explore the possibilities of incorporating film into capturing people's stories and capturing people's lives, which will then last forever.
Actually, I was one of the key persons behind the project, behind the film project. My job was to go around, talk to residents, encourage them to tell their stories about their lives, about their experiences in the care home, and what the future holds for them.
And we see almost the volunteer learning new skills alongside the older person, so they're kind of co-learning this new stuff together, which I think is really interesting, because so many of the relationships that older people living in care experience are based on a power hierarchy, whereas if you're both learning new stuff together, you're starting from the same place and you're on a very equal footing in your relationship. And I think that's almost unique for some of our clients. That's possibly the only relationship they have that is based on that equal footing.
Yeah, where they have as much to give as the volunteer has. And so often the volunteers come out and say, wow, I learned so much through doing that. And that's really exciting as well.
And that's been a really interesting kind of experience. We've kind of learnt a lot along the way. We've really learnt how that films are produced, but the more important thing is that it does take time, and it's not something which we can just rush into. You have to kind of build that friendship, build that trust with the person that you're filming, because they're telling something very emotional and very personal to their life.
It's not just a one-off thing. I prepared them over a week. When you came back to England, what did you do?
Married my husband.
And actually, you might say we got together on Snowdon Mountain. We were both keen walkers, and we were staying within a group of climbers and walkers at Battersea Coed Youth Hostel. In fact, because I was travelling about a lot, I was looking for somebody to drive me home on the Sunday evening, because I got to be in Leeds very early the next morning, and so that I could have a nap in the car, and she actually drove the car home for me. This was beginning of autumn, September, and to cut a long story short, we got married the following Easter.
Well, I was working at the technical college in the office, and he was doing a course for gas fitting, I think. Yes, gas fitting. And he kept coming and coming, you know, and I was going out with another fellow at that time. What was his name? I can't think what his name was now. But he was a mummy's boy, you know. You can't do that, Kenneth, that's it. You can't do that, Kenneth, you can't do this, Kenneth, you say. So I said to Mother, I said, it's going to pass this one over. So I chucked him in, you say. So then I started going out with my husband, William. So that's how we got together.
That's, had the happiest of happy marriages.
The most unromantic way of proposing, what happened was Diane said to me, if you want to marry me, why don't you ask me? But then I said, will you marry me? And she did.
The people that we work with predominantly 85 plus, and so they're often sort of seen as unable to give and past their best and stuff, and it's completely not true.
Yeah.
It's just about finding ways that enables them to do that, and actually going through a process of empowering them to feel that they can contribute again, because their circumstances and everything else has taken away that independence and that capacity from them, and the opportunity to be able to be and give to others.
And I think the training as well that we've done with the volunteers has been important, because it's enabling them to see that they can't just do it for the older person that they're working with. They actually need to do it alongside that person, and that makes the process much more exciting. So at the end you've got a story that's been told, but you've also got much more than that, because behind the scenes there's been all this time spent with two people enjoying learning about each other and learning about the technology and the process.
So sometimes it was very, very challenging. Because it's like entering into their personal space, asking them what they want to talk about. And sometimes, as a Christian, you say, please, off the record, don't record this. I don't want it to be on record. Put off the camera, I want to tell this story. This is a bad part of my life. Someone will say, okay.
And it's allowed us to kind of understand a bit more about the kind of psychology of how film can support somebody's life, enhance and create value in their life, and that's been really, really exciting.
I lived in India from 1946 to 1958. I was a missionary.
And I became a teacher and eventually a head teacher, and I loved every minute of being in school with the children.
Birmingham to study to be a missionary, and had to do teacher training certificate in 1944, went to India in 1946.
I don't know, I don't think I could have ever done any other job as nicely as nice as that one.
Yes, it was a good life. It was a good life. Look at all the books I've got. As long as I've got a book, I'm happy.
I like going to Victoria Park. I like going to the De Montbreton just to see it. I like going to Wigston. I like going to the Space Centre. I just like to get out for a bit of sunshine.
People can do jobs and not please anybody. My job pleased everybody, especially little children.
When I left school, I went and worked in the post office. All our family were post office people. My father and my mother, that's where they met. And so I went in the post office when I left school. And that's where I stayed until I suddenly thought, you know, I'd like a change. So I had to train for a teacher.
But I have enjoyed my life.
I met the Queen. Yes, I met the Queen.
I had the pleasure of meeting the old Queen Mary.
She's so small. I towered above her.
Most people I talk to just lead very mundane lives. And partly I am here because of my life being so interesting.
Why not live a simple life, an enjoyable life?
The food is very good. Nothing wrong with the food.
Thank you. Where's Peter? You started with that one, haven't you? It's just... Yeah.
And a group of people from Learning for the Fourth Age came to initiate an activities morning, and it's been absolutely marvellous. And 5 of our residents have done their paintings, and Pippa was a little girl who came with her mummy, and she really wanted hers exhibited too. So we're very proud of them, and all the residents were rather reluctant, but in fact are thrilled now that they took part. And I'm sure that they'll probably continue and want to do a few more activities now they find how friendly it all is. Oh, you're going to church?
I go to Laura's, yeah.
Ken now has an iPad, he's downloaded his music there, he listens to his music.
I'm really enjoying the iPad.
Yeah.
I love the encyclopedia, knowledge. It's all there, isn't it? You don't have to worry about books or anything, or dictionaries, you just bang, 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 and you get it.
That's it, right. Now, what do you want to explore? So here you've got Catherine of Aragon, you've brought that up. And if you wanted to check about Berry, I should think that's the more general thing about her career, I think.
I remember one day when the headmistress fetched my brother and I out of the school and asked us if we'd got any old underwear that we'd outgrown for the poor children.
We've shown the films to the other people living in the care setting. So, for example, there's been showings of maybe 4 or 5 different films made by different people, and their family, their friends, the other people they live with, and some of the staff have come to watch those showings. And the lovely thing coming out of that is everybody's very proud and congratulatory around that, which has been lovely, which adds to the sense of pride that the older people feel about their films, but also it encourages more people to do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it now, she'll slide down now.
It made me cry, really. I mean, Joseph's story of the poverty, nobody these days realises how poor people were. We were poor. When I was evacuated, I had to stay in bed while my clothes were washed because you only had one set of clothes, that sort of thing. You really appreciated the difference in how the years have gone by and how things have changed. I thought it was, I thought that part was interesting.
It was also different, I really enjoyed it, especially Pat. She could have told you a lot more, but she said she didn't know it was being filmed. So I've just told her she could have told her lots of things, really.
Oh yes, very extremely interesting. Particularly as Josie had the first one, about Taylor Street. Now I taught at Taylor Street for 3 years. Not a little time after she was there, but it's the same school, so I must have a word with her later on.
Well, it was quite different, something I had never done before. I suppose I enjoyed it really. And some people here living here have seen it and enjoyed it. So that was quite nice to know, wasn't it, really?
And the good news is that when some of the residents here watch her film, ask that they want to do their own film, want to do their own life story. So her film encouraged others to come on board. Because watch here live about 20 residents, just like a movie house. Yeah, she was there. Yeah, she was so happy because it Blanche.
It's nice to bring back memories as well, isn't it, really? So it was quite an experience.
I think we've already touched on the fact that some of the older people that have taken part have actually found almost a new role and a new confidence in sharing their passion, their life story, their knowledge and their skills with their peers. So where maybe they might have been living with a group of people who don't really know anything about them, all of a sudden they're now able to enjoy the fact that other people know that they were a musician, or they were a computer expert, or they were you know, a dancer or a fashion designer.
Well, having the film made, well, I think it gave me a little bit of confidence. Yes, it brought back happy memories and thought it was well worthwhile.
Then the war started, 1939, and I was very patriotic, and I thought I must do something about that.
Very strange things happened during the war. He just came back as a driller, like he'd been before.
I remember there were no lights on in the train because they thought it'd been bombed quite early. So we were in the dark the whole way. And it's about 3 or 4 hours.
Leicester didn't get bombed much, fortunately.
So I eventually joined the RAF and became a flight mechanic, which was quite a lot more difficult than I thought it would be, actually.
This dreadful land called war, which was a puzzle to me. I didn't understand why people killed each other.
It's a way of helping them to cope with the transition from being more independent to being more dependent on others, and it's a way of helping them kind of come to terms with that transition but still have their own identity, still see themselves as a person, still see themselves as valued and valuable.
I don't seem to have any hopes or things for the future. I'm settled, I'm retired now, so I'm just happy here.
Beautiful. I enjoyed life here.
I can talk to Jay like I can talk to nobody else in the house.
I cannot complain about being here. It couldn't be better.
And I think it's credit to the volunteers that the stories have been kind of extracted so beautifully from the older people that we work with, and it's the result of them having invested their time and their energy and their commitment into the older people they're working with on that one-to-one basis, so that there's some trust, so that there's some rapport, and so that the older people feel valued and therefore their stories are valuable. But it's a result of that rapport building and the relationships between the volunteers and the older people that has made the project so successful.
I hope you both have careers that you enjoy, which is probably worth more than the money you might get for it. But whatever you have to do, it can become an interest if you let it, even if it's not what you would hope for. Certainly.
I'm content with my life. I've managed to do most of the things I wanted to do.
It's what you make of it yourself. You can either sit here and be miserable, or you can enjoy it.
No, generally speaking, I'm much happier than I expected to be.
Ah, Mr. Woo, what can I do? I got those round about midnight tinies restaurant blues.
And if happiness smells, then we could smell happiness.
I never look back, because I believe you must make the best of how everything turns out, because otherwise you're spoiling your life, thinking, well, I could do that, or I ought to have done that and that. Just make the best of it. That's what I do.
This makes me feel really important. He said, you are important, you know, you're feeding me the psychology then. I'm supposed to be helping other people.
So from that though, I remember this song says, I was born one morning when the sun doesn't shine. I
picked up his shovel and I went to the mine. I loaded 16 tons of the number 9 coal. And the straw boss says, oh, bless my soul.
I just look at you, it's raining. Raining. Oh, God. It's not cold, it's raining.
Said, 16 tons, what do I get? Another day's older and deep in debt. Said, Peter, don't you call me, for I can't go. I owe my money to the company store. Oh, you believe that?
Well, that's been true. All my life I've really been into music. More latterly, mostly into classical music. But I'm now a retired parish priest, and so my work has been, most of my working life, I've been sort of in the middle of music, which has been lovely, but been a great asset and a privilege. Occasion there was a big rally in the Aldershot football stadium, a big inter-church rally of some sort, and Jerusalem was on the order of service, and it was my task to conduct this singing in this great big stadium it was for me. And I remember that was a great thrill and got my adrenaline really going. Yes, I was in the Scouts, and they had the gang show, the inevitable gang show. Very well produced it was, and I had 2 or 3 things to do in this gang show apart from a bit of singing. I had to play, the usual "We're Riding Along on the Crest of the Wave," that song, on a big accordion, piano accordion. Such a big instrument this was, and I wasn't very big, and it about covered me up, Obviously the audience could see my feet below the thing and my head above it, and then I was playing this tune, and I remember doing that quite distinctly. And we had a little dance band, a few of us together, and I played the piano for this with the pop songs of the time, which were sort of "You Are My Sunshine," "My Only Sunshine," and "Don't Fence Me In," and a few songs like that, which I still remember.
From the project we've learned all sorts of things, not least the detail and the background of some of the people that we've been working with during the project.
Yeah.
But we've also learned about the value of respecting those stories, sharing the stories that have been shared with us, and of empowering. I think that's been the biggest thing that we've
I think that's
realised.
a word we've mentioned over and over, isn't it? That empowering people. That's what's so amazing. So at the end of the day, their story might only be 5 minutes, but we've empowered them by giving them the opportunity and believing in them. We've empowered them to do that.
So we're really grateful to the Big Lottery Fund and the Silver Dreams Fund for giving us the opportunity to deliver the Specs project. We're really pleased with the success, the great outcomes we've achieved for our volunteers and for the older people that we work with. And we hope that many of the relationships we've been able to develop during that time and the partnerships between the older people and the volunteers can continue into the future. It's been fantastic to have 18 whole months to deliver this project, and we would love to be able to continue it because we know that there's lots more people who would be able to benefit from the project, both volunteers and older people.
Nothing more to say.
Wow.